Hello and welcome to episode 21 of the D Hoop University podcast. This is your host, Daryl Harris, also known as D Hoopster. And I really didn't have much to say for this intro until I went to record the intro and I hit a little milestone. I forgot what episode number it was for the first time when I was recording the intro and had to retake off the top because I forgot what number it was and had to start all over. So I'm kind of proud of that. Anyway, you're getting pretty much all finals talk on this episode. And then there's actually a surprise appearance of some artificial intelligence conversation, which was a spur of the moment kind of thing. And that was fun as well. And there's not too much else to the agenda. Sit back, relax, enjoy the pod. As always, like and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you're listening. Leave a rating while you're at it. Helps out a lot. We had a lot to say about these finals. Without further ado, folks, let's talk some hoops. I have an idea of how I'd like to kick things off. And I shared a little bit with you. And it's a wrestling analogy. So before I do that, because I think the folks want to hear Shiv. What's going on, Shiv?
What's going on, everybody? We live in, can't complain. It's the summer, I
It is
guess. We're like,
just about. It's technically
yeah, we're
every.
in
I
like
love
the
how
four
everybody jumps
feet
the
deep
gun.
section of the pool right now in summer, but it's summer.
The pools are open.
The pools are definitely open. People have been popping out at our pools here, and I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm not popping out to the pool with no seltzer, bro. I can catch me at the pool with a white claw. I'm good, champ. Y'all enjoy though. My body is not in shape for the pool right now.
I'm in Pool City right now.
Yeah, you are. You are.
You already
Yeah.
know.
Well, because it's
Over
summer, we're
under
thinking of summer league, right? Like we
over
are.
under pool appearances for me this summer. Let's adding Bash and counting that. I'll
Okay.
say like 5.5 for me to like touch some water
It's a
this
good
summer.
line.
But
I
that's adding the baby. If there was no Bash, the line would be 2.5, and I would tempt you with the under.
yeah. I think I'm gonna take the under on 5.5. For me, the line is like 2.5.
Yeah.
It's not happening. It's not happening unless I forcibly get out there. Like I just wrote myself into a social situation that I can't get out of. But anyways, I digress. It's the summer league. We're potentially going to be out there, party people. So
Yeah, it's around the corner. And I wanted to talk about the finals pretty much exclusively
wait,
because
what was your analogy though?
well let's get right into it. So wrestling head over here, I thought of this series as, you know what? I'm going to compare this to WrestleMania 25 because the series is probably getting a bad rap for the ratings that it's pulling in so far. Haven't seen too much on it actually. So, but people were saying they were disappointed that we didn't get something else. And yeah, a certain metric is going to reflect that. But at WrestleMania 25, right? You've heard of The Undertaker.
Yeah. Who hasn't? Who hasn't?
You've probably heard of Shawn Michaels. If not, you would recognize him.
Yeah.
And at WrestleMania 25, at the latter end of their careers, they had what is regarded as the best WrestleMania match of all time. And it is, for me, it's maybe top two, if anything. And the other one also has Shawn Michaels in it. So following that up was the main event match for the WWE title between Randy Orton and Triple H. A feud that was like actually high stakes, had a lot of drama. This fool kicked his wife in the head. The other dude showed up at his house. Like, it was nuts. It's the boss's daughter, like, for the world title. It's
Just for the
nuts.
sake of just
But the
Drunk.
crowd was drunk after that match and just like, there's nothing I need to see after this. And this isn't the finals matchup that we have. It's not, and also that match was pretty good, but it gets massively dumped on. And this series is going to prove those people wrong who are going to write it off because the Lakers, Celtics, one would have had a lot of hoopla behind it. You know, maybe people wanted the Warriors in it. Maybe, Sixers fans are mad somewhere.
Yeah.
Like everybody's just mad that it ended up this way when you can't really hate on it, man. You can't. These guys are here for a reason, like it or not. One is based off of I'll toss it there, but I thought of that where it was like
No,
a letdown with what we ended up with and what we're now watching. But people are going to come around. Let this series go to 5, 6, and 7, which I think it will. It's definitely going 5. It's going to draw the attention, and hopefully the stakes do, build so that way we can get that. Because if not, that would suck too.
right.
But
I, obviously I feel like my team should be in it, but just putting that aside for now, I guess. I agree with you. I agree with you. I give this series a lot of shit just because I don't know. I feel like in previous finals we've always had more than just the schemes and the nuances and the wrinkles of basketball. There was like a storyline behind it. It was like personal. That matchup was like anticipated. There was a big protagonist. There was like a big antagonist. Like it had a lot of the spice that you
yeah,
needed. And for some reason, this just does not feel that way because Jimmy's just like old and not playing well. And Jokic is like, oh, he's like still doing this. Wow, I guess it was bound to happen at some point. Like he was gonna break through and do this. But I agree with you. I think when you rewatch the games, it actually there's like replay value. Okay, here's what it is. This series has a ton of replay value. It's like a Drake album. It's like a Drake album. It has when you watch this, like for example, I'll watch the game the
yeah,
day of, and then I'll kind of have it. We have YouTube TV, so I'll have it in the background when I'm working from home. And you'll
yes,
just
sir.
pick up on little
Shout
things.
out to YouTube TV. I'm a
Yeah,
fan.
even though they let me down during, I think it was game one of the Celtics Heat series where the game just dropped at
Really,
the end of the game.
that's
Yeah,
unfortunate.
it was something crazy like that. It was either game one or game two. Yeah, but anyways, shout out YouTube TV. We're still not sponsored by the way, YouTube TV. So if you guys want to, work with us, please let us know. We'd be happy to work with you.
Yeah, I enjoy
Um,
this then.
yeah, I enjoy this set. But what I'm saying is like I think you can gain more appreciation for this series on the second watch. Or like, you listen to an album for the first time and you're like, I don't know if I really like this. And then you
Yeah.
kind of let it grow on you for a second, you just keep replaying it, or you kind of just have it on in the background while you're doing some work, like or doing some laundry. And all of a sudden it starts to hit a little, you're like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, because it's like this series hasn't commanded people's attention of I need to be sitting down, watching this live and engaging with it
Right.
for whatever reason. But when you do have the chance to be like, hold on, because I did the same. And you're like, wow. Because for a basketball fan, you do have to appreciate just the clash of style and the chess that is going on. Like you said, it's not necessarily I'm watching to see, just these guys, or
I'm
I'm
not
watching
watching a
to just,
Herculean effort by
I want my guy to win. If the other guy wins, I'm pissed.
yeah.
Like this one's more like,
Feels like
which
nobody's
one's
got
yeah,
skin in the game.
it's like which one's really gonna win this?
Yeah.
Because I tell you what, Denver, they screwed up. They
Yeah.
screwed up, bro. They 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 did exactly what Miami was hoping they would do. And that is let's see if we get one. Let's just see if we get one of these first two.
Yeah.
because game one, I didn't want to come in here and talk after game one. I didn't want to come. I wanted to, I definitely wanted to see game two first. But after game one, I was like, yeah, one team looked like they hadn't played in like 8 days. The other team looked like they were pretty physically cooked, hitting the court. And at the end of that game, they were within striking distance.
Yeah.
So what do we like? What did we just see right now? That wasn't what I thought was convincing for Denver enough down the stretch to still be blindly confident.
I
And
think it's
game two, what do you know?
of course they just Miami just pulls something together. I mean, they were dead in the water, right? They were dead in the water for a second in game two. I forget exactly what it was right around the time Duncan Robinson, I think, had like Duncan Robinson had his little mini run. And it was like, man, like this Heat team is just so quietly relentless.
But that's the thing, though, man. I told you. What did I text you in the first quarter of that game? I'll let you pull it up because
Let me
it's
pull it
it's
up.
it's a great like. I was like, dude, I know they are. I know they are because you can't be comfortable with them, and they're not a one trick pony. Like they only need a combination of. For one, that game started with Bam. Like Bam was just the presence that was needed for Miami to let other guys feel comfortable and do what they needed to do and come through, and they had to because they weren't hitting shots all game. And Caleb Martin, almost a no-show, but he hit a big one.
Caleb,
And
man. I needed the over on the 9.5. Could have hit the 125 on prize picks. Come on, Caleb. One time I put some faith in you. You're gonna do it to my team, but you go out there game two, come off the bench, be the guy, 1 for 3 from the field, costing me my rent. Come on, dog.
you gotta you
Dog.
weren't you weren't ready to see Mean Mug Duncan come out of
Oh my
nowhere.
God. I wasn't ready for like prime Sheen to just happen in the NBA finals. Jimmy
What
Neutron. What do they call him?
what Miami has that is the best thing you could have against this Denver team, especially now with the stakes are the highest, is poise. Because Denver will get a good shot against you because they're more likely to crack a defense with just the right cuts and options and Jokic doing something that you can't even see as a
Yeah.
defense. And it's like they're more likely to crack teams with that and eventually just really give it to them. But Miami, if the only way you kind of guard that team is if you can get them playing against themselves. And Miami's kind of doing that with the defensive versatility that they have against them. And they're poised. They let the shot clock work in their favor. And Denver started looking like their collar was too tight in game two.
I well, so here's what I think Denver really needs to do. And I'm gonna poke at Michael Porter Jr. here a little bit. I said I would bring this up and I have to. If you're not on Twitter and you live under a rock, or you're not on Reddit and you live under a rock, there is a picture circulating on the internet of a picture where Miami is in a zone. Their infamous 1-3-1, 2-3, whatever type of zone they got going on. I still don't know how zone is legal in the NBA. Don't get me started on that. I don't know how zone is legal still.
I
In
have a follow
professional
up on this zone.
basketball,
I
in
have a follow
professional
up.
basketball, we're playing zone. I know that's old head of me, but like, come on, man. Like, come on. Like, what are we doing here?
But
What happened to the game that I love?
but Michael Porter's at the free throw line.
But Michael Porter's at the free throw line.
The entire zone's collapsed on him.
The entire zone is within 2 arms lengths of him. He has Aaron Gordon, 1 foot in the paint, 1 foot on the block. He's got Jokic 2 feet in the paint, 1 foot on the restricted line. Jamal Murray right next to Jokic with 2 feet in the paint. And he is taking the MJ Kobe elbow fader. And you know that went back rim. And I wouldn't be surprised if it led to a Max Strus 3.
Yeah,
And
no,
he's,
man.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, and this is what I said about Denver when we started the series. I was like, I get you're gonna get Jokic and Murray, and I know that that's a potent duo when they get going. Do I have faith in KCP? Do I have faith in Bruce Brown? Do I have faith in Christian Braun? I get that they're deep, but they haven't done this before at any level. Like outside of KCP, he did it with LeBron, and I get that and I respect that. But if MPJ is your third guy and he is just he's green bean, everything looks good. Michael, fuck a swing pass, Porter Jr. Michael, I'm not swinging the ball, Porter Jr. Michael, I've never seen a shot that I don't like, Porter Jr. This is going to be a problem. If he's not hitting jumpers, he's going to shoot him out of the game because they rely on him to space the floor like that because KCP's not really getting his own shot. He doesn't have that versatility like
Yeah,
that. He has it in spots. Bruce
yeah,
Brown's not breaking you down off the dribble. Aaron
yeah.
Gordon can
No,
kind of do that, but
yeah, no, man.
it feels like that could get exposed
It
very
makes you
quickly.
it makes you look back on the shooting that they had in the Western Conference Finals and be like, okay, maybe that was inflated. Like maybe that
Had to
was, and the difference with Miami is it just has about not like 8 different versions of what can win them games. And I think so. I've flipped. I told like last time we had a really good preview, which I re-listened to before
be.
we kind of came back. So I wanted to revisit where we were mentally. And I was confident that this was going 6 or 7, meaning that Miami would win a couple and make
Yeah.
it very shaky. But I wasn't ready to do it. And I'm ready to do it now. I think Miami's getting this series unless something in game 3, like pretty definitively tells me otherwise. And it's
I
because they have a number of games, bro, that are going to happen in the rest of the series. I said that the Lakers were close to coming back against this team in games 3 and 4, and they all the games were pretty much decided in the last 5 minutes. Miami can do right now what they couldn't do, and that's going to be one. They got that one. Jimmy hasn't went off at all. I have another nugget on Jimmy. I didn't get to say what I wanted to say about the zone. We're all over the place, which I'm lit about because this series does have a lot going on.
It does. I mean, it's the best series if you are really, really into basketball. If you're just kind of if you're the casual part of the casual diehards, it's
Yeah.
hard to probably enjoy this series. If you are the diehard part of casual diehards, you're loving this series.
No, yeah, it's a lot of meat on the bone if that's the case. I'll mention about the zone
Yeah, let's
that
go back to the zone.
so I have the playoffs really resurface all of the theories that I base my basketball takes off of. But I have a 2K theory, right?
Yeah.
So I pulled the zone back out on 2K in my NBA. And my current fantasy team that I have right now, I have LaMelo and Lonzo in the backcourt. I have Towns. I have Capella, who I got in a trade. And I have Shaden Sharp at the 3. And I've got some snipers off the bench, blah, blah, blah. But with LaMelo and Lonzo up front and Capella in the middle and a big on either side, you do get just this defensive comfort zone where it's like, why not? Like, why would we not play you this way? Because now when you catch the ball in your attack, like this is fundamental. We don't have to do all of this, but it throws players off their rhythm because you start doing what you think a zone's going to do, and you're playing against yourself a little bit.
Yeah, 100%.
And you're going to need some guys to really break it.
Yeah.
And what Miami's doing with it is smart. They're like, all right, we're going to flow with you. Oops, here it goes. What do you do over the next 4 minutes?
Yeah.
We got you. Or maybe we didn't, but it's a unique to where it's just like, yeah, if we're a solid defense, break us down. Go for it.
No. And no. I hate zone. I
It's
get
like,
it.
but
I get it at the high school level. I get it at the AAU level. I get it, Jim Boeheim. The 2-3. You got me.
and
All
that's
right,
the
you got
thing
me.
though. If you couldn't park in the zone, if you couldn't park in the lane, then I can respect what you're doing. Because in college, like, all right, come on now. If somebody gets to really camp down there, we're not playing professional basketball. That's why that's one of the rules. You know what I mean?
Right.
No diss, no shade. But in the NBA, it's like, all right, if you're doing that with a guy covering mad ground, not parking in the lane, unless I'm legally guarding you, which is help anyway. It's just like, all right, then beat it. Like, go ahead and
It,
beat it.
it's just I don't know how to describe it. It's just not right. I just don't. Even if I don't like it when Boston runs it. I don't like it when any team runs it because you know what? Just play man. You get paid a lot of money to stay in shape. Just guard your man. Just guard your man.
Being devil's advocate,
I'm a fan. Listen, I get the tribute to Jim Boeheim, pioneer
it's
of the
not.
2-3 zone.
It's just
We
it's
ran a
just
1-2,
hoops.
1-1 in high school. We called it dime, and we got a ton of turnovers. I get it. I thrived off the zone.
You
I
know
was a
what's
poor
next?
individual defender.
You know what's next? Teams are going to start full court pressing. We're
Which
going
is
to get
fine.
we're going to
Full
get some
court
full court.
press. That's
I'm here
cool,
for diversifying it. Like,
but
give
the
me something.
zone
Give
just
me
makes
something.
no like listen, Scott Drew,
But
the
no, so
131. I'm a fan. I root for the zone. I get it. This is in college. Y'all are
but no,
grown
dude.
men. Guard your man. Go to the corner. You guard your guy. Stop doing this switchy, whatever's going on here. I can't figure it out because for 82 regular season games, nobody's pulled out the zone. And of course, Eric Spoelstra, Mr. Basketball Nerd over here, is like, oh, I can actually pull out a zone. And like, it figures out it's like a legal loophole that you can like abuse in the legal system. And it's like, of course, there's this little zone man loophole ambiguous thing that no one really knows how it's
the
not a
matchup
zone.
zone.
Yeah, it's like, bro, like, is it cake or is it like real food? Like, you know what I mean? Like, stop. Like, the zone is I don't
So
understand
being look,
how
so
people are okay with this.
being devil's advocate, people were not happy once fools start shooting 43s a game.
I know. And it's like,
But at the
who
end of the day,
cares?
it's also if it makes sense, you're gonna be mad at me because I'm doing it first, but I'm not gonna be the last.
Yeah, no, 100. I
And then
mean,
what's
hey,
up?
listen. Boldy James
Mad
said it best.
mad teams pulled out a wildcat formation with like
Yeah,
no
it's true.
dynamic
It's
quarterback
like
or
the
like
Georgia Tech Navy Wildcat college football, where it's like one of these guys could be the quarterback, but there's three running backs in the backfield.
yeah. And
What am I
I'm
supposed
talking
to
about
do?
like in 2012 when Miami first broke it out. Of course,
Oh my
every
God,
team
yeah,
now could do it, but
yeah.
they saw Miami pull it off for one season. Was like, let's see.
It's just, it's just so frustrating. I don't know. I'm a basketball Puritan. You know what I mean? I'm rigid in my ways. Get the big man back in there. Show some love to the bigs.
He's a thumper.
I did go
So
to Baylor, so
so my other thing about Jimmy Butler is that it made me look at the conversation and the takes and opinions on the Lakers getting eliminated, knowing that LeBron did have an ankle injury for whatever you want to credit you want to give, the
yeah.
outcome of it too. It's like also, or well, he played through an injury, and people just forget that. So I'm thinking, all right, you know what? Maybe I'm attached to that because that's my team, and clearly because people
No.
are just like, all
Well,
right,
this has just been a thing throughout his career, though. Nobody really wants to like accept that like when he broke his hand and it was after he had the 50-point game in Oracle and people are like, "Oh yeah, like he just wore the cast after." You don't just wear a cast, dog. Like you don't just who in their right mind does that? Like, who wants to
Can
wear a
you
walking
just
boot?
can you tape me real quick, bro? Just can you tape me? Like, not
Yeah, I'm sure you got experience.
watch the film. Watch the film. LeBron game one was never present again the rest of that series for a
No,
reason. It is
he
what it
wasn't
is.
even like shooting the right. Like he just wasn't shooting properly. You could
Right.
tell something was off.
And he was
But
money in
anyways,
game one. But so Jimmy cranked his ankle against the Knicks. Cranked it. Game one, I believe. If whatever it was.
yeah,
And they ended up winning that game. And they were talking to him in the post game. And he was like, I can tell you don't feel good.
yeah.
It was an honest moment of like, whoo. I fought through that game. I don't know what tomorrow is going to feel like,
The
but I'm
doctors
planning
definitely
on
were like, "You're lucky you didn't. You could have broken it. Like I'm
it didn't
surprised
fit.
you didn't
Yeah.
break it."
Because you when
And it's
something
like,
like that happens, you don't know for a second. You're like,
yeah, yeah.
what can
No,
I
you don't.
what can I do right now?
Yeah,
And you're just kind of like, and that's what takes guys off their game once you're compromised because you lost your mental
ability to
comfort.
trust.
Yeah, you lost trust in your body. Everything is your connectivity is just
I have a really interesting Jason Tatum theory regarding this conversation. Maybe we can bring it up later, but
yeah.
it is essentially along the same things of a
The hand joint.
so I forget what game it was in the Milwaukee series last year. He dunked on either Brook Lopez or Giannis, but I think Giannis was chasing him down and there was contact at the rim and he careened into the stanchion. And he since then has not like driven. I am not one to say he is not driving aggressively because I am not one to go into the paint. I am a perimeter threat in pickup on Saturday mornings, but he does not go to the rim the same way he used to prior to that play, in my opinion. I might just be overlooking it, but it's along the lines of what we're talking about, Jimmy. It's like this thing happens, and now you're kind of just thinking about you're second guessing the move, even though you know it's there. Your body's telling you it's there, but you've had this consequence as a result of doing that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
And you learn how to you know how to manage your body.
Yeah.
Like you know how hard you can press the gas. And I think that if anything since then, he just knows that he can't burn the gas.
Yeah.
And because then he'll be, probably might have to come off the court, like if he were to re-aggravate it or something like that. That's just something that you got to play through, at this point. But he seems like he's not just letting it all go until he feels comfortable that he can to get it, to get it done still and get out of the game and be good. But he will put it all on the line for a couple games this series. He will let it all go and get through it in at least one or two pivotal games. And I think that's going to get him one. I think that, believe it or not, I think that, hey, in game 6 and 7 in the Eastern Conference Finals, were you not afraid that Kyle Lowry was going to give you one? Just like one game with like, he didn't. But were you not like, I hope this game isn't the freaking like, I just think that Kyle Lowry, he didn't really do it. So I think he might do it this series.
Well, it also feels like the refs
just a
aren't.
game where
I feel like in order for Kyle Lowry to truly have, and this is probably not backed up by stats, I feel like in order for Kyle Lowry to truly have a game, he has to do at least 3 completely bullshit things on the court. Like completely foul someone but not get called, completely flop when attempting to take a charge, and do some little, poke at you stuff like dead ball and you're trying to like, take a jumper during the media timeout and he comes out of nowhere and just like rips it out of your hands. So like that's how Kyle Lowry, it's like the Chris Paul thing. He's like Chris Paul Jr. They got to do these little cheeky things that are just like, oh, like
within that same game, he's gonna hit 130-footer. He's
he's
gonna hit one at the end of the shot clock. He's gonna get probably 2 charges and like 1 call overturned.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be like,
And it's just you just throw your
Jesus,
hands in the air and
dude.
you're like,
Like, and he's out there for, I think he has one of those in him. They really only needed one
he's
or
got
two.
one.
Right. I think
I
he
got one
does,
more in me.
dude. I think he does. And I think Duncan, Struess, and Vincent, you needed the combination of them to at least equal one. And I think they got the one in game two. So if they get another one, I'm not expecting it now, but they might because of that. Because all you need is one of them to just lose their mind for like 6 minutes, which they've done every series.
They have. No, I mean, listen, this Miami run has been so
Add
paradox.
Caleb Martin to that list.
It's gonna happen. I've seen it with my own eyes.
Add Kevin Love to the list.
My children and their children, my children's children will know what Caleb Martin did to my mental health in the year of 2023. I took my glasses off. I put them back on. I was like, nah, I know I'm not seeing Devin Booker out there right. Like I know that can't be right. He has done like I've realized I need therapy because of Caleb Martin. Like he has done things to me that I just could not have foreseen. And that's definitely happening. I agree with you. I mean,
I
I
have
think
another
bringing
one
him
down
off the
here.
bench. I like the idea of him coming off the bench because there's gonna be a game where he just comes out on fire for no reason.
It's just the
He's a
versatility.
flamethrower, dude. He's like a mini flamethrower.
I
He hits
haven't
the corner three. He gets the drive middle spin left hand layup. He's got like the reverse jelly. It's like, dude, how are you doing this?
they're all poised and you know not surprised that they're none of them, the entire team. Like that's a team where the scrimmages, like the teams are even. So
Yeah,
it's like everybody feels like they're as good as the guy that's playing when they're not, legitimately.
yeah.
And the right guys will be on the court if they're utilized correctly. I haven't seen the reporting on this. I'd like to hear what Isaiah knows, but does Tyler Hero still dress up for one game? Does he dress up? Maybe they have
So
that question mark,
yeah,
and then can Bam get you 30?
has he?
Which is like finding the magic at the gold at the end of the rainbow. Because I've yet to see it.
Yeah.
And,
He felt very impactful though.
right. So I'm saying 30 like as an
Yeah.
actual benchmark. Like if you
Yeah.
go out there and get me 30,
You just have a game where you're cooking. Yeah.
I will put I will put more respect on your name. Like you
Yeah,
you
for
will
sure.
you will earn it. Like
For sure.
I want to see it because you can. People, you do it in the regular season, every other week or every week or whatever. But let's see it now, dude. Let's really see it.
Yeah.
If they get
No, I'm
one or
with you.
two more of those, dude,
I if you're Denver,
and
let's switch.
they're at home now. They're at home,
So they look, to be fair, they haven't played incredibly well at home.
but
But
the guys might hit them at home.
I will argue Denver's sake here. I think if you're a Denver fan, yes, you're frustrated you dropped game two, but you take solace and you can sleep well knowing you kind of blew it and you probably should have lost by more, but you only lost by three and you got a good look at the end to tie it up. Would have liked to see Malone not pull a Missoula there, maybe call a timeout instead, but I also respect it. Let your guys play off. I think it was off a jump ball. No, it was an
Nope.
inbounds.
Missed three.
It was a missed three. It was a missed three by Jimmy. That's right.
Yeah.
And yeah, play it. Why not? Maybe you get something in transition, but I would have liked to see him take a timeout after a couple seconds, maybe draw something up. But now you go on the road. They haven't been tremendous on the road. They did a fair share of complaining in that game.
Yeah.
I think they overplayed Christian Braun. I get the energy he brought in the first half, but
It's Brown. Everybody hates that one, but
is it really Christian Brown?
yeah,
Christian
I hate it.
Braun.
Yeah, it's Brown.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Crazy, right?
I apologize. He went to Kansas. We don't like them in Waco, so it's not rock chalk. I don't care if he's a Jayhawk national champion, whatever, sick 'em Bears. But 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 Yeah, like in the playoffs, you have to have a short rotation,
And
and
they
I
do
think they
they
let
crack.
him along a little too much. I would have liked to see maybe a little more Bruce Brown, and Michael Porter Jr. shot pretty poorly. Someone's gonna show up for you on the road, whether you're gonna get the Jamal Murray and you're gonna get the Jokic. I don't know if I think Michael Porter Jr. will be the guy, but I'm sure KCP can get it going. I'm sure they got guys. Is Reggie Jackson playing in this series? Does he play for them?
Yeah, it's scary. It's scary for Denver. It honestly is. I have all these notes down on Miami, and it's not because
It's
I've
nothing
been,
about Denver.
dude. I've been thumping Denver,
Yeah,
and now I see where it's like, you know what? My other couple theories are, it takes multiple cracks,
yeah,
and Denver, even though they've been dominant, this is their first time cracking the shell, getting to the finals,
yeah. No,
and
that's a big factor.
Miami did do that in an equally respectable run in the bubble and came, and I looked back at that series and I was like, all right, so what did the Lakers do or how did the series play out? Because with Miami, you can't give them life. And the Lakers won game one, won game two. They won the Heat took game three, Lakers got game four. Miami stayed alive, took care of it in six.
Yeah,
That's why the reason why it said at the very beginning that they messed up is because they let Miami really steal a game on their home court.
yeah,
And this is their first crack there. They're figuring out that, yeah, you were the best up until now. And once we're here, you have to then prove it again.
yeah,
And they haven't had to make those type of adjustments yet. And Miami, as much as we talk about them being an 8 seed, we don't talk about them being a 1 seed last year equally enough because it's the same team.
yeah. I mean, hey, it's the ebbs and the flows of the game, and so Miami has it, and I agree with you. They've been here before. A lot of their key guys that are stepping up in these moments outside of Gabe Vincent have been here before. So they know. They know what's at stake. And Denver, I think, is a victim of the moment right now. And someone other than Mike Malone is going to have to rally that locker room. So we'll see who steps up. This is an opportunity for a guy like Jokic to be and outwardly project that alpha personality that we crave with the greats, right? This is a
Yeah.
time for him to put his foot down and be like, hey, follow my lead. I'm setting the tone. I'm dialed in, blah, 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 right?
Yeah, no, you
So,
you you have to go LeBron mode of
yeah,
just it's on from jump.
yeah, yeah,
I'll let you know if I need to sit.
yeah,
And if you're on the court with me, you're out there because I trust you. And
exactly.
I honestly, Denver's guys, I think they're going to fold in that spot right now. I
Well,
think they're
we've
just going.
been saying that.
Think
We
they're just
said
going to fold.
I said this at the beginning, like at the beginning of the playoffs. I said they have the talent, and I get that. I just don't know who I'm trusting in a big time moment from this team. And I have now obviously backed Denver due to what happened in the Eastern Conference Finals, but it's like, no, this is inevitable. Like this is kind
I
of
was
inevitable.
I was rooting for Denver, and I feel like they're going to get second place, which is the most mixed feelings award to get ever.
Ever.
But it is like I wanted them to show, like, they are cold, they're legit. But now Miami has all these cards where it's like, yo, we've been here before.
Yeah.
We got our guys. We're mentally tougher, and you gave us blood in the water.
Yeah.
I feel like we did a good job of carrying just some extra conversation about that series there. Now, what are you thinking needs to happen? What I don't know. What are your takes? What do you think now?
So my whole take, obviously, we harped on Michael Porter Jr. a little bit through 3 games. He's 3 for 17 from three. In general, he's 7 of 24 from the field. So he's literally just throwing up threes. I expect Malone, if he's as good of a coach as everybody's really been saying, and to his credit, they've been incredible in the
Hey,
regular
he's
season.
gonna get humbled, bro. He's gonna get humbled.
He has been talking a lot this postseason, more so than the
Yeah,
players.
it's
Kind
coming.
of like how Nick Sirianni of the Eagles talks a lot, but Jalen Hurts doesn't really say anything. It kind of
Yeah,
has that type of energy to it, and I get it. Advocate for your players. I
yeah.
respect it. But at the same time, karma is a real thing. And
Like,
that
yeah,
stuff
like
always just
also
finds a way.
relax. Like relax a little bit, bro.
Yeah, just relax a little,
Like I
right?
think
But
now on Twitter there's people who post quotes that he doesn't say. Like fake news is a thing.
yeah,
It's like you fall for it sometimes or whatever. But I
yeah.
think there's people that I think posting Michael Malone saying something. Yeah, you're talking about this, but I thought you were. I bet you're not saying this about this.
Yeah, yeah, literally. No, 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 no. I'm sure I have seen these things on Twitter and I'm sure they're circulating on other social media sites too. But yeah, I expect Malone to make the adjustment of
You got Nugs still.
getting Michael Porter Jr. better looks, maybe getting him going earlier in the game by getting him better looks because he can't continue to shoot this poorly if they want to have success, especially as the series continues to progress and you get into a game 5 or a game 6 or God forbid a game 7, right? Um, I also probably expect to see more Bruce Brown involvement. They played him a lot last game. They played him, I think, exactly at 25 minutes, which I had taken the over on Prize Picks. Um, but I like what he brings off the bench for them a lot, especially against that zone, because he is literally the definition of three layup and defense. Like there's no real in between game for him, but against the zone where you either are cutting and getting a layup or finish at the rim, or you're getting a set 3-point shot, that's the kind of guy you want in there. So I look for them to be a lot more focused when the zone comes, and when it goes to man, I mean, it's just got to be Jokic all day. So I think they'll make some adjustments here in terms of just getting their role guys going early. Obviously, you want the stars to get it going, and you can kind of lean on them to bring it and set the energy and set the tempo. But look for Michael Porter Jr. to hopefully get better looks and shoot a little better in game 3 and game 4, especially because they're going to need it on the road.
This game feels like I think everybody's gonna. I think all the shots are gonna be falling in game three to get going. I
Yeah,
think this has feelings of an over. I don't know
yeah,
why, but
I agree.
yeah, because I think that it is going to happen, and that these guys are going to play a little freely for some reason, and unless Denver puts Miami away, I won't be convinced like decisively through 2 or 3 quarters. I don't feel confident thinking that they're going to be there in the fourth quarter with everything rolling, which they will in one of these home games. They will in one of these. I think this is going 2-2 once we get out of Miami.
Yeah.
So it might be game three. It might not, which way to hedge your bet.
Well, also
On me, but
I just want to address our whole script writers sort of theme that we've been stringing throughout these episodes and kind of sprinkling in. There was an out of bounds on Jimmy Butler that led to a Duncan Robinson three, then the goaltend by Bam. So if you're Denver, you're like, we did get hosed, like very obviously we got hosed. So if
do
you're
they
Denver,
get
don't feel
revenge?
terrible,
They get
huh?
revenge in game three.
They're not getting any calls in Miami. And so that's where I think Denver's kind of in good shape because they have veterans who
They
have been at certain levels of playoffs and they understand that you can't complain. So I think yesterday was sort of a one-off. I think Malone will
yeah.
get those guys in order and say,
I've
listen,
been
just
I've been
play defense.
heavy. Yeah, I've been heavy on the Heat this episode. I'm willing to say that I do think that they, on the other hand, woke up the bear a little bit
Mm-hmm.
because I would say this about the Celtics or some teams you kind of got to punch them one time
Yeah.
and like all right. You ready to play now?
Yeah.
And all right, wow, why didn't you just do that in the first
Yeah.
place?
Yeah.
And Denver can very well respond like that in game 3.
Yeah, they
And
could.
they've got a 20-point victory in them against this team in one of these games. And if
They
they
do.
don't, that will be
Concerning.
yeah,
Because all season long it
you're
feels
not
like
ready
they've
to
just been
do
putting up a ton of points. I feel like that's their way to beat you, right? It's never really I don't think of Denver as a when the game slows down, let's run our sets. It kind of feels like they're playing in transition. Jokic is facilitating. It's kind of free flowing, and they're just moving the ball and getting good shots. I
yeah.
don't see them as let's run a set. Whereas Miami is like, no, we have no problem using up 22 of the 24 seconds on the shot clock.
Yeah.
So kind
And
of contradictory play styles here. And it's kind of, I think, thematic. It's a thematic representation of just how paradoxical the Miami run is. Negative point differential. They're literally better with Jimmy off the floor. Like, it's just so hard to wrap your head around because it's like they shouldn't be doing this without Jimmy Butler, but they are, and they're playing so well. And that's what Denver should be doing because they have this guy that gets everybody involved. But yeah, it's just, I mean, I'm
yeah.
excited. I'm excited.
What I think we're suiting ourselves up for is a another Toronto Raptor ring. I said that
Yeah.
if the if Jimmy got a ring this late in his career, it would be like a Dirk one. But no, I think this is a Raptor ring where you're playing, an all-time great, essentially, or a version of an all-time great, and you won because it eventually became like 1-on-4, or like eventually that person was fighting like a full team or a full army, and
Well, my
it just
only
didn't really work out for you.
my only contention with that is Jimmy's not been the best player on his team.
But
And I
it's
am
the
a firm
team.
believer in that.
Yeah, right. They don't have, yeah, right.
Right?
Cut
Like,
the head
like
off the
we have to
snake.
get the narrative correct. Caleb Martin is carrying Jimmy Butler. That's
Stop
the
it.
narrative.
Stop it. Stop it.
That's the narrative.
No. If Jimmy Butler is, of course, either just a shadow of himself, time and time, game in, game out, or if he's removed from the equation for some reason, of course. Lay the house on Denver. But I've said this statement a good number of times so far. If he's going to be the alpha,
Yeah.
they're probably going to come out on top. And he doesn't
Yeah.
have to be that by outperforming Jokic in the box score. So
Yeah.
if he trusts his guys and his guys feed off of that enough, which they do,
What should I do?
it's a little ugly, man. It is. Hopefully it
It
goes to
is.
game 7. Hopefully you just get to game 7 now. Let's get to
Yeah.
game 7 so that way we remember this series.
That's true. That's true. I'm here for it, man. I am here for it. I wonder if Denver will maybe go to a defensive strategy, kind of similar to what Miami did, where it's like, all right, well, we're gonna pick the guy that we want to just let him have a game. But
Yeah.
we're
And will
saying
it be
like we're
this?
not letting go of Max Strus, Duncan Robinson, and Gabe Vincent. We're like literally grabbing and holding on to it. We're just not gonna let them touch the ball.
Yeah, this happens all the time too, where it's just like, yeah, of course, the other guys win it. So if you
Yeah.
can stop the other guys, or if your other guys are better,
Yeah.
along with your star.
Yeah, that's right.
But that's the whole game in a nutshell. Man,
Yeah.
that was good. Let's let that sit, because that the series deserves some attention, and it's gonna draw that out of the public in the next couple of days. We're gonna check in as well. We're gonna get Isaiah on here
Yeah, we are.
to address the jury, and his deposition will be recorded. We will play it for you guys,
We will play it for you all.
and we will see what he has to say. See if he can beat the case, which is looking like these guys are going to beat the. They're skating by all
And do this album
allegations.
like a Montreal Canadian.
They shout out if we're talking hockey. Thank you. Go Knights, go. They are on the Panthers' ass right now, up
They're cooking.
2-0. And I'll say it more confidently than I would if I was rooting for like my team in a different situation. But I'm just like on the wagon that the entire city's on, literally. And these guys are better than them. Like, I need to see this. It's happening. We're getting a parade. It's a parade inside our city. Yeah. Like, you feel me? This is going to be another one. The Aces already got one. They're going to get another one this year.
I
The
Two
Raiders, ladies and
things.
gentlemen, the Raiders.
I don't want to talk about Ja right now, but I will say it's kind of funny. It's actually really kind of comical how Adam Silver has like an album rollout for his. He's like, yeah, we know what we're gonna do, but we're gonna let this final series kind of shake out, and then we'll look into things. It's like
Dude,
he's got
he said
music
his date.
video dropping. He's
He
got
said his date. That's
merch.
crazy. That's crazy. It's sold out, bro. Like, the pre-sales are like sold
So
out.
we'll
That's
talk about that, I guess, when it comes to that. I don't
I
really
know,
like
dude. I
talking
know. I
about it
don't know.
because
We gotta wait and see. This is really like
yeah,
a jury, like some
yeah.
like because it's like,
We're-
do they have additional information?
Yeah, I don't know, right?
What's
There's been a
the
report that circled out that said like, oh, it's his camp says that it's a toy gun, and it's like, yeah, well,
took a little late for that to for us to hear that one. It
yeah, it's been a
would have been
couple.
great to hear that the next day.
Yeah, like I don't know why you had to, right, but we can get into that, I guess, when
I
it
don't know,
drops.
man. I
But
don't know because it's serious,
it
but
is,
it's serious in the sense that it's a magnifying glass being put on something
a young
where
guy.
it can be really subjective. And,
It touches a lot of sensitive topics, I think, and
you
it's really
know,
hard to navigate a
so
conversation like that
a
without
serious, yeah,
sounding
right.
biased in either direction.
There's serious conversation to be had about it. And then there's also close-minded serious conversations that are being had about it.
Yeah.
And then there's some jokes to be had, in all
Yeah.
honesty.
Maybe
And
we'll
but
talk
we need
about
to
it.
see. We need to see because there will be rightful outrage if this suspension is nuts.
Yeah.
Unless it's
Unless there's some stuff on.
consistent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless it's valid. So
Yeah.
we got bro set the date and said
Album dropping, tap in, click for pre-sale.
that's really crazy. Yeah,
We got the merch.
that was a good mention there. We might have a couple more one mention that we have to do before we get out of here.
Sam Cassell, baby. Welcome back to Titletown. I you've if you haven't seen the
The
video,
coaching
Sam
carousel.
Cassell working out James Harden and Tyrese Maxey in the offseason. That is the energy. Just look it up on YouTube. I know you guys aren't working for the full 8 hours of the 8 hour day. Go to
I've seen
YouTube,
it.
type in
That
Sam
clip
Cassell, James Harden, Tyrese Maxey. And that energy
that
with
clip is
Jaylen
just
Brown and
more.
Jason Tatum is about to really shake things up. And we're going to get healthy. We got our boy back in the building. We're gonna have the '08 Celtics reunion tour. I want James Posey in the building for that. I want Glenn Davis drooling on the court for that. Nate Robinson wasn't a part of a team. I want Nate Robinson back for that. Get the boys back in town. Banner number 18 coming at you next year. You heard it here first.
Yeah, no, we'll see.
Those
But that leaves me with
are my two mentions.
that leaves me with which I can't follow up. That leaves me with the top 50 players of all time according to ChatGPT. And I want to talk about this just before we get out of here.
Let's.
It took the spot of me teasing ahead to our collective bargaining talk because I'm a pretty techie nerd for all what is when it's all said and done. And this chat GPT thing is funny to me in AI because it's here to stay.
Yeah.
And I'm here to, first of all, and this is just, this isn't going straight to tech talk, but I love the AI concerns and fears that we have.
They're
Or
real.
just, I just like the story of that and the headline of that being so pervasive. When folks, Siri has been on our phone for like 8 years. The concept of AI
Has been around.
is all it is. It's an asset. It's the internet. Like now it's just new. Like, oh, you know what? We can now do this at any given moment. And now how do we factor this into everything that we do?
Yeah.
Because it gives the possibilities. You can now have something brainstorm for you
Yeah.
and then extract from that what you weren't considering. That's the essence of it. It's a search engine that does a lot more for you.
Yeah. No, it is in every essence of the word. It is literally artificial intelligence. Like it is just so incredible what it can do. Like it is genuinely incredible. And I'm sure people who code and come from that background can flesh it out way more than I can. But from my limited understanding of it, dude, it's dope. But at the same time, there are dangers. There are consequences that could be had. There are pitfalls to it. And I think
Which
it's
is,
important to
yeah,
understand both sides for sure.
yeah.
Like with anything in life, right? You
No,
can't
yeah.
just have chocolate ice cream. You have to try vanilla to know what you're getting yourself into. You got to know both sides.
All right. And if you're a little lactose, you got to know what it's like to push it too far. Be like, ooh,
Dude,
no, I
hey,
can't do that.
they got the sorbets for people like that.
Luckily, I'm not.
I used to be. I used to
Bless
be.
up, bless up. But no, man. Kind of. I agree with you.
Yeah.
There definitely isn't. I work in news for these exact reasons. World leaders and policymakers everywhere are at least trying to establish some ground rules
Yeah. There's
and
a
just be
lot of
like, yeah, let's all say let's not let this take over us. Can we do that, please? All right, cool. Can we make it a little illegal to take it
yeah.
there?
Well, yeah, no, for sure.
Right.
Even in healthcare, like we talk about it a lot at work, believe it or not. We're trying to figure out how to integrate like ChatGPT into like these public health initiatives that we have.
I
And
Yeah,
it does so much thinking. Like it just
it's
does so much thinking. And it's
it's
like,
revolutionizing cancer research
yeah, it's doing all sorts of incredible things.
just in terms of having it there. Like we
But
we still are making the call, but
one oddly crazy thing is I forget the guy's name, but he's like the guy. He is literally nicknamed like the godfather of AI. He's like he's won like Nobel Peace Prizes for it and stuff. Dude, he like stepped down from his positions because he was like, they're not taking me seriously about like the consequences that I'm talking about of AI. And he like couldn't talk freely about it because of like all he had accomplished in the field. And he was just like, nah, I'm out. And it's like, oh, wait a minute. Like, is this real? Like, hold on. Like, can we
we
just
we
30 seconds? Let me draw let me see if the refs want to review that really quickly. Like, can you review that? Is that a reviewable play?
we
Because
dude.
he's stepping down, and that's probably it's like with Bob Myers stepping down, it's like, okay, something fishy has to be going on. Like,
I wouldn't take it there, but I do love the dramatic element of the point in time where we are, which is just a frontier of a new well, hey, this is different now.
yeah,
And this is accessible for everybody. And
yeah,
it's not going to go Jetsons. Like we're not, what I'm saying? It's certain aspects of this. And it definitely is. Don't get me started on the Vision Pro goggles. But to bring this back to basketball,
yeah. Let's bring it back to basketball.
what ChatGPT put together, and we'll hit or miss, but they had a top 50 players of all time list that I'm glad you shared with me
We found this on
because
Twitter, by the way, to our
there's
audience.
just a lot of notes to be had from here. We're gonna have to book in this and deep dive it
Yeah.
again for fun because
Well,
there's a
I
lot of like points you can just pull out from what they had here. And
yeah,
the whole
yeah,
thing isn't right,
100%.
of course, but
And
they got
we like to tease the legacy episode, we are fleshing that out. There's going to be a criteria established, and we're going to rank the players too. And I think you guys are really,
in
really
some fashion.
yeah. And I think
Probably
they're going to
probably
really like
contemporary. Probably put a date on it just to level out the
probably
weight that we
probably
can put
after
behind it.
after the series, I think, because this obviously a ring has some
No,
implications.
but I mean a timestamp of like a history. Like
Oh
we'll
yeah,
probably
yeah, yeah,
we'll
yeah,
cap it at
yeah, yeah.
something.
We're not
So
we're not yeah. Yeah, we'll let you guys know when that episode's dropping.
But this list, man, it presents some arguments to be had. So this is just the top 10. Number one, LeBron James. Number two, Mike. Number three, Shaq. Number four, Larry Bird. Number five, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Number six, are you still with me, folks? Number six, Dolph Shays. Number seven, Stephen Wardell Curry. Number eight, Magic Johnson. Number nine, Charles Barkley. Number 10, Will Chamberlain. Jesus, that was
It's crazy, right?
that's nuts, right? So
So you go. I was gonna say I respect Shaq at 3, and I don't. Is he the best big man of the group? I don't know, but I get the whole LeBron, MJ, Shaq thing as the top 3 because it's like these guys were just athletic anomalies. But then you have a guy like Will at 10 who was also an athletic anomaly, and it's like
something about this list feels weighted properly. And it's not. But something about this list feels
this
like,
line
okay,
of thinking that developed this list does feel a
right.
little correct.
We took into account how actually dominant you were
Yeah.
for a stretch of time and how that was reflected in like this has finals and finals MVPs like really up there along with like just statement seasons.
But
Is
then how
kind
would
of
you explain the Barkley at 9? I think that's my biggest roadblock because it's like I respect it because I think Charles Barkley is an incredibly underrated player.
that
But
yeah that would just
top
require
10?
somebody who just can eloquently do it, and I'm not equipped. But there's there's the legend and myth
Yeah,
of
the round
Charles
mound of
Barkley
rebound.
just being one of one,
Yeah. I
and
mean,
the
if you've seen
same
his
way,
highlights, you know.
yeah, the same way any guard can be considered at like the same way Steph Curry at 6'3", and that's the only all these other guys are big guys outside of Mike. But
Go to 11 to 20.
being a
That's
six
when it gets.
five, 6'6" guy at the end of the day, you can be an all-time great. And
Yeah.
he essentially just was because he was one of one. But like I said, I can't do it properly. But the other kind of so just the other notes about this list, they have Duncan at 11. They got Bill Russell at 16.
Yeah.
They were kind of saying, yeah, no, we're not having
The whole
we're not giving
MVP,
y'all, we're not giving you that.
which is pretty crazy.
You're still top 20 all time. You're still an
Yeah.
all-timer, but we're
It
not doing
feels
that.
it feels wrong, but in my heart, it's like, no, that's you know,
They have Kuzi 3 spots ahead of him,
13.
who was like his teammate, was he not?
Yeah, that's
Whatever.
what I'm saying.
They have Hakeem at 12. They got Kobe at 14, which Kobe deserves higher. That one
And
needs a
it's
little.
only because and it's so sad that
I,
he's not around to
I feel
defend.
like this list would have captured that the way it did everybody else though.
That's what
But
I'm saying.
when you look at it though, he is the second or third guard, only behind Michael, Steph, and Magic.
Yeah,
He's the next guard after that.
next guard
So
up.
make of that what you will. And they've got
Yeah,
Chris
Chris
Paul at
Paul at
15.
15. Over Westbrook all time?
I give Chris Paul over Westbrook all time.
I'm not tolerating that.
Chris Paul's the next point guard up for me. He is. He
Well,
doesn't
okay,
have the
yeah,
championships
maybe
to
that's a
show
bit
for
of an
it.
overreaction. I just think Russell Westbrook is ridiculously underrated,
They
which
have
they have him on this list at 28, so I'm not mad.
but dang, so look at this. They don't like so Steve Nash isn't in the top 40. Jason Kidd's 25.
Which
Westbrook's
I can respect.
28.
Yeah.
Iverson's 26.
And I also agree with Iverson being a little bit lower on most all-time lists because I get he was a scoring phenom and he could give everybody buckets, but also like, yeah, it makes
No,
sense
no,
that
that
like,
feels fair. That's
yeah,
respectable. What I was referencing those guards for is that they don't have Nash in the top 40.
yeah. Like,
Be-
I think they had Oscar Robertson at like 17, and that was
yeah,
they got him
yeah, yeah,
basically
yeah.
right there after Chris Paul, but like yeah, it's not an incredibly guard heavy list until you get like after the mid 20s.
which is, basketball is a tall person's game.
Yeah.
At the end
Yeah.
of the day, they have hey, if they take advantage of it, that's what you are blessed to do. They got Luca at they got Luca at 36. There's no
That
Giannis. No
yeah,
Giannis.
there's no Giannis. There's no Giannis.
Kawhi at 32. I guess there probably shouldn't be a Giannis yet, but they got Luca. They're projecting that he's going to be there.
Yeah. Which is pretty crazy. I mean, I could see it, right?
The
Like,
craziest one is Ginobili at 24.
bro, they had Ginobili at 24, but shout out they put my boy Paul Pierce at 27. I'm gonna respect that though, because he doesn't get enough love on that. They got Harden at 23, which I kind of respect because it's like
I
his
do.
time in Houston was so underrated.
I
So
do.
it feels kind of nice to see him get a little bit of that respect.
That's kind of what it is. They somehow put into perspective, and every era is going to debate this, but they kind of put into perspective what you did against your peers
Yeah.
and like how cold you were with your competition level,
Yeah.
where the level of the game was at. Maybe I don't know. This is that's funny. They do have the full Boston Big Three in here:
They
KG
do.
21, Paul Pierce, and then Ray at 37.
Well, Ray's one of the he's either the best or the second or the third best shooter of all time, right? Depending on how you feel. So it's like, yeah, that makes sense. Because if you think about it, right? Like in the debate between Michael Jordan and LeBron James, people always say, oh, like Jordan did it first, though. That's what makes it so great. Well, Ray Allen was the first one to make the three-point shot look that great and make it that big of a thing. Like he was
Yeah, he stamped
the
all time.
pinnacle
He
of
was the
sniping.
leader. Yeah, I didn't think that his record would be
You know what
broken.
I mean? Like he was the pinnacle of it. So I respect him being on there. And with Paul Pierce, he's nicknamed the truth. How could you not put the truth on there? And then obviously KG, stretch four, head banging the stanchion before the game. Just
They have this is
icon.
interesting. Well, for one, they have Scotty at 40 and Dwayne Wade at 31. So clearly
Yeah.
LeBron had more help than Michael Jordan, and Michael. That's why Michael Jordan's better than LeBron. Clearly, LeBron had more help. Sarcasm.
That debate will
Uh,
be had during the Legacy Pod for sure.
but
But you know where
they
I
got
stand.
they got T Mac at 39.
Respect, because he was I don't know where he ranks on the all-time scoring list, but it's like,
Do
dude,
you
he was taller
do
than
you
Kevin
put
Durant.
but do you put T Mac ahead of Melo?
I
Just
don't know.
question that object.
I don't know. I
Where
don't Part of me wants to, but also I think they're right around the same spot. I think they're within one or two
they're
spots of
on
each.
they're on the same block.
Yeah, they're on the same, they're in the same zip code.
Yeah.
They may not be neighbors, but they could be like a couple houses down.
How about it? Let's
It's a wrap.
let's call it a night.
Let's
And I think these finals are going to deliver because we just expressed a lot of energy about it,
yeah.
and it was deserving.
No, it
So
was great. That was a good conversation.
yeah, let's wait and see. Hopefully, let's just get something special.
Yeah.
One of you guys go be special. I'll keep saying
Yeah.
that at the end of the pods.
Someone,
We
yo,
just
be a
want
dad
something
for
good,
one.
dude.
Yeah.
Prove it, man.
Yeah.
This is what the moment's for.
I agree. Bring back the trophy at half court too, NBA.
Jesus,
Adam Silver,
man.
you think David Stern would let this slide? Come on, man. Come
Shake,
on, man.
shaking my head, dude. Till next time.
Peace out.